Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is my final for Earl 126. So, from the very beginning, when I started working with children, I was always drawn to creating art with them. And I was 19, I had just started out of childcare, but because it seemed like it was an available job at the time. And at this point, I wasn't enrolled in college. I didn't know that I wanted to work with children permanently. So I went in with no knowledge, and I didn't realize how much I had to grow, especially when it comes to creating art with children. That was my biggest challenge at the time, was not having any experience or education. So after completing these classes, I have these tools that I didn't have before. And what I did have was the skills to nurture children, and this came naturally to me. And very soon I realized that working with children was my passion. So from week 1 of Earl 126, when we learned about process versus product art, I discovered how beneficial creating art with children actually was, and how to do it in a way that was beneficial to them as well. So, and to make the experience meaningful. And I find it hard to do sometimes because I have to admit I love handprint turkeys, and I am so guilty of having a classroom full of handprint art and footprint art. Just a few months ago, we made the cutest footprint squash and fire trucks, but I understand now that that was beneficial for me and the parents to look at, but the children didn't really get an experience with that. Because by allowing the children creative freedom through process-oriented art and giving them the materials to create whatever they want and display, they can display their unique personality and grow in their identity as an artist and as a scholar. And now that I have personally developed this philosophy for allowing children to create what they want, my classroom has never been more colorful. And offering children multiple materials such as paint, crayons, pencils, markers, glitter, glue, recycled materials, and so many more things, and continually rotating these, their creativity is going to grow, and they will be more likely to try these new techniques and constructively think about new ways to create art. And looking at my own art from Earl 126, you can watch my philosophy grow into what it is now, which is that there's no wrong way to create art. We create to learn. And looking at my one lesson plan where I tried to create my own Play-Doh, which turned into a disaster of a consistency, I learned through my art how to make it better next time by adding that cream of tartar. And I still continued to try and mold with my failed Play-Doh and make the art connected to the lesson, which was the book Go Away Big Green Monster. And I didn't add this to my PowerPoint, but I still thought it was important to mention in this video because it was a huge learning experience for me. By measuring and mixing, I added the concepts of both science and math into my lesson. So through incorporating arts into other subjects, children can show me what they learn and that they are understanding of the material that I am presenting to them in their own individual way. And this also keeps children engaged because they can use materials that are not traditionally offered in these other content areas. Educators can introduce new concepts, topics, and cultures by presenting the children with the artists and the art pieces related to the lessons. And when I create my lessons, I use early learning standards. And by using these, I'm sure that I am creating developmentally appropriate lessons because of the early standards. They clearly outline the goal areas that I should be working on with a specific age group and how I, as the educator, can support my children in these milestones. And the early learning standards are just one of many professional resources I use. I constantly am turning towards the art as a way of learning curriculum manual and teaching skills and strategies and the NACCE's guiding principles. But I also find it beneficial to work with other professionals, which I've been doing since the beginning of my career. I've definitely looked up to other professionals. And actually, circling back to week 1, when I learned about process versus product art, I was so inspired by the one article, Inviting Creativity, the Teacher's Role in Art, that I printed it out, highlighted what I thought was important, and brought it in to share with some of my coworkers. And it's made its way through 3 different classrooms of my center, because we just keep passing it around. We all love the information on there. And it's inspired us all to strive to allow our children to create on their own accord. And I have the article here with a note from one of my co-teachers thanking me for sharing it with her, and you can see I highlighted what was important, and it's a little crumpled up and beaten because of how many professionals it has gone through now. So thank you, Professor Curry, for offering me that resource. So to continue my growth in early childhood education, next semester is actually my last at Northampton Area Community College, and I'm going to receive my associate's degree in this field. And then I'm going to be moving on to East Stroudsburg University to finish my bachelor's degree. So my big idea and what I think is the most important takeaway from this semester and from working with children through the arts is that by incorporating the arts, we allow children to creatively express themselves and show off their knowledge and abilities in a way that makes sense to them, because that's what this is all about, the children. Thank you so much for the great semester.